The DC 1 million story arc presents the DC universe in a very distant timeline to the 853rd century to be exact. The 853rd century is exactly 1 million months after the dawn of superheroes. In this epoch, humanity succeeds into becoming a utopian society beyond our wildest dreams. From the data foundries of the planet Mercury to the modern metropolis of Earth to the floating coral cities of Neptune, the great tradition of superheroes lives on. Chief among them are the magnificent Justice Legion Alpha, whose members include futuristic versions of Superman, Starman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, the Flash, and Hourman. Grant Morrison's DC 1 million stands as one of the most ambitious and imaginative crossover events in comic book history. Set in the 853rd century, the story celebrates the symbolic millionth issues of DC Comics by propelling readers into a dazzling future where the legacies of Superman, Batman, and the Justice League endure across millennia. Morrison's vision is both celebratory and challenging, weaving together cosmic-scale storytelling with deeply human themes. In the 853rd century, the entire solar system has been rebuilt and colonized. Each of the members of the Justice Legion A patrol and defend a different planet. Flash on Mercury, Wonder Woman on Venus, Starman on Uranus, Superman on Earth, Batman on Pluto, and Aquaman on Neptune. Their entire civilization organizes itself around the processing of information. A gigantic network of star computers links the entire galaxy, allowing them to trade new ideas with distant systems. In this century, almost everyone are naturally born with telepathy. Inhabitants have a 100% rate of telepathy, which they can use to access the artificial telepathic information network known as HeadNet. Everyone has advanced intellect as they possess neocortex structures to process vast amounts of information. Citizens of this era have very advanced science and mechanical aptitude. Their access to 853rd century education allows them to create technology beyond anything available in the 21st century and makes even advanced technology from earlier periods seem simple. Most residents can even fly. Of course, many heroes and villains in this century are also perceived to be more powerful because of inheriting many combined genetic traits and definitely more technologically advanced as compared to their ancient counterparts. Welcome to DCNS, and today let's meet the Justice Legion and the numerous amazing characters in DC 1 million. Let's start with Superman 1 million. Kal Kent is the distant descendant of Superman and the leader of Justice Legion Alpha. Please note that this Kal Kent is different from Superman Prime, the Golden Superman who also appeared in DC 1 million. Kal Kent was born on Earth and he is the Superman of the year 853,500 AD. He is also a member of the Superman Squad, a group of the Superman from different eras that protects the structure of space-time. The squad includes the unknown Superman of AD 4500 and Klaisas Klazentplikes, Superman of the Fifth Dimension. Like many Supermen, Superman 1 million has superhuman strength but more. Kal is possessed of prodigious strength said to equal the power of a collapsing star. He was also able to punch through time, a feat his teammate Wonder Woman considered impossible. His heat vision is also much more. Kal's heat vision can project separated beams of heat from his eyes. He is capable of varying these beams to project cosmic radiation, which is harmful to artificial intelligences. As a citizen of the 853rd century, Kal Kent possesses a number of capabilities more developed than those typical in the 20th or 21st century. Access to 853rd century education allows Kal Kent to create machines or gadgets beyond anything available in the 21st century and makes even advanced technology from earlier periods seem simple. Enhanced intellect. Kal possesses neocortex structures. The people of the 853rd century are capable of processing vast amounts of information. He has mental powers of 10 Einstein units. However, Brainiac or his descendants would still seem to be more intelligent than him, as Brainiac has once successfully mentally controlled him and the Justice Legion. Telepathy. Inhabitants of the 853rd century have a 100% rate of telepathy, which Kal Kent can use to access the artificial telepathic information network known as HeadNet. Aside from that, Kal Kent has innate telepathy. This Superman also has 5D vision. Kal can see temporal anomalies and other things that extend beyond 3 dimensions. Alien bloodlines physiology. Due to various alien extra-dimensional beings marrying into the Superman dynasty, including a fifth-dimensional queen in the 67th century, Kal Kent has inherited a number of powers. Super ESP. Kal has been seen using his Super ESP to calm rioters, communicate visions of the future, erase memories, and to telepathically defeat and imprison the laughing virus. While helping Superman calm down the rioters in a prison in the 20th century, Superman 1,000,000 electrified the clouds, made it rain, and used the raindrops to hypnotize the prisoners into calming down. His ESP can also read back statics in the environment to scan past events. Once, he used his ESP on present-day Superboy to see his different future events. He can also emit hypno vibrations. Extrasensory input. Kal has inherited 10 alien senses when the Superman of the 67th century married Gazentplazik, the queen of the 5th dimension. So he has a total of 17 senses. Because of his extra senses, anyone trying to mentally possess him would fail. 5D hearing. Kal can hear events taking place in the 3rd dimension from the 5th dimension. 5th dimension jump. Kal can open a portal to the 5th dimension by saying Namrepus, which is Superman in reverse. Super solar enhancement. Kal Kent has made a pact with the incredibly powerful Superman Prime that grants him the power of the solar system's enhanced super sun, reminiscent of but greater and more varied than the solar energy absorption of a Kryptonian. Away from the super sun, these abilities gradually fade over the course of 36 hours. This Superman also has a much clearer X-ray vision. This is the ability to see through solid objects, treating them as transparent. Force vision. Kal is able to project beams of force with his eyes to contain, manipulate, or repel. He can use this vision as telekinetic fetters. Kal can use his force vision to create constructs of red energy like giant hands, similar to the powers of Green Lantern. He also used his force vision to fix software issues in Hourman. His only viewed limitation is that he is incapable of holding back an entire rampaging galaxy with his force vision unaided, requiring the aid of Titano, Superman of the Gorilla Galaxy. This Superman also has quantum vision that disassembles digital weapons. Kal has a different kind of flight. Kal is able to fly at incredible speeds. With a gravity assist from Jupiter, he was able to reach the edge of the Milky Way galaxy in an hour. This ability fades in stages, which can cause him to crash if it weakens at the wrong moment. Super leaping. Kal can leap from planet to planet in a single bound, measuring his strides in parsecs. When his powers weaken to the point that he can no longer fly, he is able to leap tall buildings. Techno-empathy. Kal can commune with the simple minds of electronic devices. He can also generate electromagnetic pulses to defeat mechanical foes. Boom suit. His super suit allows him to travel to different places on different galaxies or to different time or eras in split seconds. Meanwhile, he uses a tesseract to transport beings from different galaxies who want to have a meeting with him. Superman's Fortress of Solitude is located in the tesseract space. Despite his many outstanding capabilities, traveling back to the 21st century makes his power weaker or decline because of a different kind of sun. In the 1853rd century, the progenitor of the Superman dynasty, Prime Superman, Kal-El, was able to return from his solar Fortress of Solitude after several centuries. As part of the festivities, the Justice Legion Alpha, Kal Kent included, went back in time to recruit the ancient Justice League of America. The current Legion had counterparts to the League, except for Green Lantern, they had the future Starman instead. After arriving at the end of the 20th century, Kal Kent and the Justice Legion convinced the League to go to the future and participate in trials as part of the celebration. Before they left, Kal helped Superman stop a Bell Rev prison riot. During this incident, he referenced fighting the Chronovore with the Superman squad. Following the League's departure, Hourman released the Hourman virus, which infected not only people but technology. It was revealed that the virus was Solaris' artificial intelligence in its infancy. The virus was spreading because Solaris was looking in all technology and organisms for its body. To cure the world and save it from Solaris, they had to create Solaris. Once in his body, Solaris became self-aware, with his intelligence increasing with every passing second. Starman sacrificed himself, but he was able to banish Solaris by creating a black hole. Their time machine didn't have enough power for deep time travel, but Superman was able to punch through the time barrier to bring the Legion back to the 853rd century. They arrived in time for Superman to help Green Lantern contain Solaris' supernova detonation, and to witness Superman Prime's arrival and the final destruction of the Tyrant's star. At some point, the villain Epoch trapped him and his partner Batman in a time loop in preparation for his invasion of the 21st century, but Kal freed them using his fifth-dimensional powers. In the Convergence story arc, Superman 1,000,000 and the other heroes are trapped in a dome for a year, lost their powers, and are being killed by the Luthorians. They are constantly attacked by the armies of Lincoln Luthor and are teleported by Telos to fight the crime syndicate of Earth 3. He is attacked by Ultraman without access to the sun, he loses his powers and falls to the ground. He would later participate in the Justice Doom War against Perpetua that crosses over the multiverse. Superman 1,000,000 also appeared in the animated movie of All-Star Superman in 2011.
We fought the Mad God Darkseid in the year 8350.
Next is Wonder Woman. This Wonder Woman of DC 1,000,000 had an unusual birth. She was carved from marble by the Amazons and granted life by the Goddess of Truth, most likely the original Wonder Woman who was ascended to godhood. She was appointed the protector of the planet Venus. The new home of the Amazons is the planet Venus. Here, women from different planets study the Amazon life in marble temples and war in amazing fighting fields. Venus is strictly for women only. She works with the Justice Legion along with her sidekick Troy, a younger girl likewise made of marble. Aside from her super strength and super durability, this Wonder Woman possesses 853rd century physiology. As a citizen of the 853rd century, Wonder Woman possesses a number of capabilities more developed than those typical in the 20th or 21st century. She has advanced science mechanical aptitude. Access to 853rd century education allows Wonder Woman to create technology beyond anything available in the 21st century. She has enhanced intellect because of neocortex structures in her brain. She also has telepathic connections to HeadNet, a telepathic information network. Her main weapon is Harmony and Charity. Wonder Woman wields a pair of bracers named Harmony and Charity with an AI in them that could create indestructible force field objects like shields and swords in addition to providing tactical advice. These bracelets were forged using thinking metals from the Web Nebula, and they can also create force fields for her. The AI in her bracelets also provides suggestions for defensive maneuvers in battles. Her main transportation is an invisible spacecraft made by Harmony and Charity. She has a golden lasso of truth and white wings on her legs. Apparently, in this futuristic timeline, the purple healing ray of the Amazons is still healing our heroes. In Venus, the purple healing ray has become an entire sophisticated building for regenerating organic tissues of the wounded Amazons. Also in Venus, many of the original Amazons are still very much alive, such as Artemis, Magala, and her mother, Queen Hippolyta. In the Convergence story arc, Wonder Woman 1,000,000 and the other heroes were teleported to an unknown planet by a being named Telos, who also kidnapped several other heroes from other universes to fight each other at the behest of Brainiac. She and the Justice Legion Alpha are nearly completely wiped out by the Luthor bots, but they are then teleported to fight the crime syndicate. She defeats Ultraman but is defeated by Superwoman. Batman 1,000,000 is a member of the Justice Legion Alpha and the warden of the dangerous asylum planet of Pluto. He patrols the entire planet himself, aided only by his sidekick Robin, the toy wonder. In the distant future that is the 853rd century, criminals of the most dangerous variety have been relocated to the bleak prison planet of Pluto, where they were overseen by a new Batman. In the year 85,245, Pluto was the prison planet where tens of thousands of the galaxy's worst criminals were kept under strict control. With the aid of the laughing virus, The criminal Zauron instigated a rebellion, seizing control of this world. Seeking retribution and a demonstration of power, Zauron had thousands of guards as well as their spouses herded into an arena, with their children forced to watch as their parents were massacred over the course of days. When the 15,000 children of those families were forced to watch the massacre of their parents, many committed suicide or went insane. When it all was over, one child promised he would make sure this massacre is avenged. Only one swore never to let such a tragedy occur again and vowed to become the Batman. Already aware about the Batman legacy and the many Batmen that had already existed, he chose the symbol of the bat because he thought that it stood for more than simply fear. It stood as an ideal, it stood for justice. Knowing what was necessary to succeed in his mission, he began training, honing his abilities just as hundreds of others who had taken the mantle of the bat had done before him. He furthered his knowledge in millions of physical and mental techniques, various subjects, and even more in searching for the technology he would need to combat evil. And yes, this Batman is blonde and has blue eyes. This dynamic Dark Knight has an IQ of 1045. After years of patience, training, studying, and preparing, he became Batman 1 million. Soon, he would meet Zauron and exact his vengeance. Soon after, he was invited to join a new incarnation of the Justice League, the Justice Legion Alpha, where he met Superman 1 million and the Flash 1 million, among others. After years of working together, they went back in time to invite the Justice League of the 20th century to see the rebirth of the first Superman, Superman Prime. Unexpectedly, their companion Starman betrayed them and unleashed a plague onto Earth, with the real Justice League being unable to stop it. Batman was the one who discovered Starman's traitorous activities. The Justice Legion helped the present-time heroes to stop the plague. Batman 1 million worked with the 20th century Batman to find a way to stop Starman's plan, along with Dick Grayson and Tim Drake using the technology of the Batcave. Batman 1 million stopped his plans, ending with Starman returning to the light once more and committing suicide to stop what he had done. He used his holographic supercomputer and his avatar to decrypt the nanites of the Hourman virus. This Batman later stole the soul of Bruce Wayne, the original Batman, and transported it across time and space and placed it in a clone. The Batsuit. Though very similar in appearance to the original Batsuit, the Batsuit 1 million farther surpasses that of the original. It includes camouflage, night vision, fireproof cape, strengthened skeleton, gliding wings, collapsible armor, an internal hard drive with over 10 times the capacity of the present-day Batcomputer, which it was capable of wirelessly connecting with and imparting storage capacity to, electrical absorption and holographic capabilities that can duplicate himself. It would seem that he always carry a supercomputer. His suit also allows him to create an avatar to do other tasks for him. Similar to Batarangs, he has data ranks that can follow its target while tagging their DNA. However, instead of offense, these data ranks are used for tracking. They home in on targets, following them before phasing right through them with no harm. The data ranks mark their genetic code, allowing Batman to always find them afterwards. He can also fly or float by manipulating gravity fields around him. Just like the original, he wields boomerangs shaped like a bat. He has been seen with explosive and electrical varieties. This Batman also has a legacy driver, a special belt that allows Batman to assume the forms, skill, and equipment of every Batman and Batwoman who ever lived. Functions of the driver include Dark Knight, allows him to assume the form of the original Batman. Nightfall allows him to assume the form of Azrael. This form is strong enough to fight the superhumanly strong Hades. Zur-En-Arach allows him to assume the form of the Batman of Zur-En-Arach. In this form, he has formidable psychic defenses. Beyond allows him to assume the form of Terry McGinnis, Batman Beyond. This includes Terry's suit's flight capabilities. His car is called the Omnibat, which is like a hover car with outstanding flaming aesthetic. He also has a bat shuttle for space travel. He also has a circuit burster, a gadget that can dismantle any electronic security. He would still be using the Batcomputer in the future. He has tiny batarangs that can provide powerful electrocution to anyone while paralyzing their psychological defenses. In the Convergence story arc, Batman 1 Million tried to talk to Owlman of Earth 3 Crime Syndicate to combine their efforts to stop the madman behind their capture. He also easily defeated Johnny Quick, the Flash of Earth 3, with a neurotoxin that immediately paralyzed him. The Aquaman legacy survived all the way into the 853rd century. Aquaman 1 Million is the protector of the ocean world of Neptune. He is the monarch of the Neptune seas and the master of moisture. This Aquaman has many powers. One of that is hydrokinesis, and that includes commanding liquids to condense around his enemy, which he did to the ray to refract his light power to attack his own body. He also has the power to freeze water. He can also command the water molecules to induce erosion in seconds. He can also become airborne by creating a moving water bubble. He has also created an energized sprout of hard water, like a water bridge that can transport liquid resources to a drought-stricken planet. He uses a huge anchor with connected chains as his trident. He also has great knowledge about every species on Neptune. Of course, he also has great strength and durability. This Aquaman is also a member of the Justice Legion, a futuristic version of the Justice League. When the Justice Legion traveled back to the 20th century, the Legion surprises the Justice League with a sudden invasion of the lunar base and begins to fight the League. Zodiel battles Aquaman and is trapped in a huge bubble of water, which he escapes using his flaming sword. Zodiel then reads the Legion's minds and senses that they are innocent. Neptune is where entire cities of living coral gently ride the ocean currents, where aquatic life from all corners of the cosmos cools in harmony. Here, you will find the finest accommodations and the most exotic resorts. Small wonder Neptune is among the most popular vacation destinations in the quadrant. In the Convergence story arc, Aquaman 1 Million fought Power Ring of Earth 3's crime syndicate. Power Ring tried to suffocate him with an old-style scuba helmet, but Aquaman used his hydrokinesis to dehydrate Power Ring and lost consciousness. However, Superwoman surprised him with a punch. The Flash of the DC 1 Million story arc is actually not from the 853rd century. This Flash is named Jonathan Fox, and he is actually from a nearer future, the 27th century. John Fox was a historian for the National Academy of Science in Central City in the 27th century. He was going out with reporter Kim Fryer of Spectrum News. When the radioactive villain Manfred Mota brought death and destruction to the Central City in 2645, the Academy decided to send John into the past to retrieve one or more of the three Flashes to help defeat Mota. His mission was a failure, but the tachyon radiation that powered his journey gave him super speed. He subsequently sent Mota through the time stream to the year 50 billion AD. John set up an identity as the Flash, even changing his hair color to protect his secret identity. His glory lasted a very short while because he was assigned to guard duty at the Time Institute after super-fast robots, known as speed metals, had been introduced. Speed metals are robotic law enforcement officers that patrol Central City constantly and tirelessly. After a time-tossed Wally West came to his era, hinting that he may not have been able to get home, John Fox remembered something from history. At the end of the 20th century, an ice age occurred, setting back human civilization. He was afraid that if Wally had been able to get home, he would have stopped it. So, John took some chronal gauntlets designed by Rel Vidar from the Institute and sets off for 1996. There, John designed a new costume for himself and began operating as the Flash in Wally's absence. He soon fell in love with Wally's girlfriend Linda Park. He was unable to stop the beginning of the Ice Age, which had been set off by Abracadabra and Polaris. But after Wally returned, they stopped it together. In the 64th century, John created time gauntlets that was later used by Kronos to suspend John in mid-motion, mid-thought, rendered inanimate. However, speed metals soon caught onto his absence. They followed him to the 20th century, accusing him of violating the Time Travel Accord of 2659 and the theft of government-related time travel technologies. Because he was being executed right then and there by the robots, Wally helped him and worked together to stop them. Speed Metal would know to look for him in the 20th century after their operatives never returned, so John decided to leave for another era. John was then tasked by Jay Garrick and Max Mercury to travel to the future timelines and warn future Flashes about Cobalt Blue and the Alan Thawne feud. He went to 2899 AD to warn and save the Flash of that time from his own version of Cobalt Blue enemy. John later appears in the 853rd century with the Justice Legion Alpha. Like any Speed Force conduits, this Flash has accelerated healing, enhanced senses, phasing, Speed Force aura, vortex creations, superhuman durability, stamina, and speed. While John is very good in his stereography, he is vulnerable to chemicals. This Flash's accelerated physical structure makes him particularly vulnerable to chemical attacks. In the Convergence series, this Flash fought Power Ring and Johnny Quick of the Crime Syndicate but was defeated by Johnny Quick. Hourman, real name Matthew Tyler, is an android from the 853rd century and a member of the Justice Legion Alpha. This Hourman is possibly the most prominent character of the DC 1 million, as he even had his own comic series in 1999. This Hourman was created by Tyler Chemo Robotics using genetic software that is patterned after the Miraculo-enhanced DNA of Rex Tyler, the original Golden Age Hourman. His android body is a Diamond Generation intelligent machine colony, DNA programmed with Tyler Miraculo gene biosoftware. He was a top-of-the-line android and still considered cutting-edge even 2 years after his creation. He is based off Rex Tyler's own genetic code, and he possesses all of the various enhanced attributes. When he was created, he found it difficult to understand human passion and why he needs to emulate human behavior. Thus, while this Hourman is a machine, he nonetheless qualifies as a descendant of Rex Tyler's. In the year 85271 AD, Metron of the New Gods will appoint this young android as his heir and entrust him with the Warlogog, an artifact that can control and manipulate time itself. But Hourman forsook his post as Metron's apprentice and traveled back to the 20th century to explore his human heritage along with the Justice League. The main ability of this Hourman is chronokinesis. One of the ways Matt Tyler was able to use his chronokinesis was his ability called time vision. Put simply, it is the ability of an individual to perceive events from the past and or of the future. His time vision can also age anything, like aging something fast until it becomes dust or changing people into kids. His chronokinesis also seems telepathic, as he can review the past experiences of anyone while absorbing their histories. His time vision can also bring back or revive the past self of anyone, even if they are already out of existence. He can also slow down the Flash. He would also append his egg timer before using his powers. Another android capability he has is shape-shifting. He can be a dog or human. Also, he can share his power hour to his teammates. He also has regeneration. Matthew has a machine colony comprising his body that is capable of repairing itself and rebuilding completely from small pieces. His main transportation is called Hourman's time ship. Hourman has a time ship that he can use to travel through time. Hourman can change the look of the time ship anytime. His main tool is the Warlogog, an artifact that can control and manipulate space-time itself. He renounced the Warlogog's full power, limiting himself to the occasional power hour in which he can access some of the Warlogog's dimension-manipulating abilities. The Warlogog allowed Hourman to step effortlessly through time. This, however, caused a great catastrophe. When the Justice Legion traveled back to invite the Justice League into the future, Hourman was infected by a virus implanted by the evil Solaris. The virus was searching for Solaris, destroying everything in its path. This virus spread throughout Earth's technology, but the heroes were able to shunt it into a mechanical host. After this incident, the android felt great remorse for the damage he caused. He decided to divest himself of the Warlogog's power and attempted to live as a human in the 20th century. He joined the Justice League and befriended the team's former mascot, Snapper Carr, and took the name Matthew Tyler. In his time with the Justice League, he is usually shown to be impatient, as he can usually predict the future, which also indicates his weird relationship with time. At some point, this Hourman became known as Hourman 2000 in his time with the Justice League. However, sometime after, Hourman and the other robots, Cyborg and Red Tornado, were mind-controlled by Brainiac 13 in Metropolis to attack Superman and Luthor. He left the Justice League at the formation of the new JSA. Like his predecessor, he became a founding member of the new group. His membership provided him with the opportunity to avenge Rex Tyler's death. Rex's killer, Extant, attempted to reassemble the Warlogog. Hourman was instrumental in defeating the villain, but then left the Justice Society of America after this case. After he had spent untold decades adventuring through time since his resignation from the JSA, he received one of Mr. Terrific's T-spheres, which bore a call for help. Rick Tyler was badly wounded in the time point, which was normally occupied by his father Rex. Hourman quickly assembled everything, and everyone needed to save Rick. Dr. Midnight operated on Rick's major injuries, and Hourman sped up the healing process. Just then, the time point's last seconds ticked away, and Rex knew it was time to return to the moment of his death. It was Rick, however, who leaped back into the time stream to take his father's place. The three Hourmen subsequently vied to take Rex's place in the time stream, but Matthew Tyler emerged victorious. He empowered Rex with the power to return home, then shot everyone out, diving to his death alongside the original Dr. Midnight. During the Justice Doom War in the Justice League series in 2019, Hourman and the Justice Legion were possessed by Brainiac. Earth Zero Wonder Woman used her lasso against Hourman to set him free of the possession, which then also freed the Justice League. However, he was soon depowered by Brainiac 1 million despite having the Warlogog. In the 2023 series of The Flash, Hourman resumed his role as a hero and guardian of history. During a fight with Extant, he was caught in a mysterious explosion and transported to a room in Time Point with no doors or windows. Having lost the Warlogog in the fight, he was powerless to leave and remained there until he overheard Granny Goodness on the other side of the wall. He heard Granny say that she had captured the son of Wally West, named Wade, and would take him to the Palace of Eternity. Granny teleported away, and Hourman used the crack she left in hypertime to escape the room. Emerging on Earth in the year 2023, where Wally and Mr. Terrific were attempting to tap into hypertime. Wally feared that Wade was dead, but Hourman informed him that he had merely been taken. Wally then summoned Gold Beetle from the future to help them get the Warlogog. Although from Gold Beetle's perspective, this was the first time she had met any of them, she agreed to hand the Warlogog over. Hourman installed it in a starship built by Mr. Terrific, and they set off to rescue Wade. They reached the Palace of Eternity and found Granny and Wade inside, along with three boys known as the Furious. Hourman, Kid Flash, and Mr. Terrific fought the Furious, while Wally chased after Granny and Wade. They held back because the Furious were children, allowing the boys to get the upper hand. Wally eventually returned with Wade, revealing to the Furious that Granny had abandoned them and that they were not orphans, as she had told them, but that she had actually stolen them from their real families. In fact, one of them was Mr. Terrific's son, who he had assumed had been miscarried. During the dawn of DC era, Hourman helped Mr. Terrific and Alan Scott in choosing new members for the Justice Society. Hourman was pulled from the timeline and reprogrammed by the Time Master, a potential evil future adult version of Corky Baxter. A time scavenger known as the Child Minder had pulled a number of Golden Age sidekicks from their individual timelines and imprisoned them on Orphan Island, an island of Miraclo in the Pacific Ocean outside the normal flow of time. This included several members of the 13 who had been erased from history by the Flashpoint and Dr. Manhattan's meddling in the time stream and stored by the Time Masters in the Time Lab. One of the sidekicks was Wing, the forgotten eighth soldier of victory. Wing had been pulled from the timeline moments before he had sacrificed himself to destroy Nebula Man and needed to be returned to his proper place in history to die, otherwise Nebula Man would have destroyed the world. He sent Hourman to bargain with the childminder for the children, and so Matthew struck a deal to restore her youth in return for the children, planning to send Wing back to the point of his death and allow the others to be killed in a time storm. The childminder used Judy Garrick to open a portal to Orphan Island and bring Hourman through. Meanwhile, the Time Master's younger self, Corky, Stargirl, and Red Arrow were attempting to rescue the kidnapped sidekicks. The sidekicks fought Hourman and the Childminder off, and the older Time Master came through the portal himself. Judy removed Hourman's brain, and Quiz Kid was able to remove the Time Master's programming. Hourman blasted the Time Master back through the portal, erasing his potentiality. Wing also jumped through the portal, choosing to sacrifice himself, and Hourman teleported the rest of them away before the time storm consumed Orphan Island. The sidekicks could not be returned to their home eras, and so he took them to the present where they became known as the Young Justice Society. The Atom was a scientist who attempted to extract a new kind of energy from microscopic superstrings, but only to cause a singularity that threatened to grow and replace the universe. As the first scientist to be affected by the singularity's unusual radiation that transformed him into a being capable of atomizing his entire physique, he was best suited to contain the singularity. However, he soon realized that the singularity was alive and inhabited, a complete microscopic continuum trying to expand into his universe at the speed of light. The Atom was unable to save his universe, and the woman he loved he left behind, leaving him as the sole survivor. Upon arriving in the new universe, he encountered his first resident, Superman Prime, who shared his sympathies with the Atom for losing everything he had known and welcoming him to stay in this new reality. Despite his losses, the Atom was resolved to one day find his home reality and his lover tucked away somewhere in the current universe. He soon found his place in the Justice Legion after showing his bravery against the Bizarro Legion. However, he died during the Convergence story arc when the Justice Legion were trapped in a dome and lost their powers. His main power is biofission that allows him to replicate his cellular structures and change sizes. He can rearrange his micro multiples for them to create different kinds of elements like gold. Next, we have Owlwoman. Owlwoman of the 853rd century was a Quardian hybrid, as her mother is from Quard, while her father hails from the positive matter universe. Quard is a mirror universe of this timeline and sometimes called Reversiverse, where residents can't help but be opposites of the normal universe. Despite her Quardian heritage, she was raised to become a hero. This Owlwoman has outstanding fighting skills, remarkable agility, and smart like Batman. Owlwoman's costume is reminiscent of Night Owl from Watchmen. However, her most significant item is her wings. Each feather on her wings is a photon processor that she can use to accelerate from naught to light speed in 30 seconds. And because she has a hybrid Quardian and human DNA, she can easily change herself to pure antimatter. Her powers and skills surely made her a cherished member of the Justice Legion. Unfortunately, she died during the Convergence story arc when the Justice Legion lost their powers and were systematically hunted by the Luthorians while being trapped in a huge dome. In the DCKO tie-in of Justice League Unlimited Vol.2, Earth is slowly turning into a new apocalypse, and the Justice League is working overtime to evacuate the planet's entire population. To combat this new threat, Terrific has put together a team composed of heroes from different years and eras. Aquaman, Power Girl, Guy Gardner, the Electric Superman Blue, the Gold Hawk of Andrino, Tim Drake, Alan Scott, Sophie the Dr. Fate from the 31st Century, and Owlwoman of the Justice Legion. They were then called the Terrific 10. Thus, as a team, they all went to Hell as part of their mission to fight the Demons 3. Since this is a KO event, one by one everyone died. First to go were Power Girl and Guy Gardner, pulled in half. Then Alan Scott, consumed by wood and snakes. Then Aquaman, barbecued by an underwater monster in the river Styx. Next, Superman Blue sacrificed and blew himself inside a huge demon monster. The Gold Hawk was then possessed by the Black Sea, who then proceeded in killing Tim Drake Batman. Dr. Fate demolished the Gold Hawk, but she was later eaten by the multitude of small monsters at the Hall of Neron. On a surprise twist, Owlwoman traitorously shot Mr. Terrific and revealed that she is already working with Neron. Faris Knight is the Starman of DC 1 million. He hails from the 853rd century and is a distant descendant of Jack Knights and the Mist's son Kyle. He is also called the Stellar Sentinel of the Outer System and Master of the Gravity Rod. Part of his duty is to maintain Solaris, the second son of the Solar System, a super-intelligent stellar computer that processes and connects all gigantic networks in the galaxy, enabling trade of ideas across distant systems. However, this Starman is actually the defender of Solaris and a traitor in the Justice Legion. Faris commands an alien artifact called a Quarvat, similar in function to the cosmic rod. His gravity rod can read toxic chemicals and pollution in the environment. His rod is acknowledged as number 3 on the most powerful weapons in the galactic net list. He lives on a space station in the orbit of Uranus, from which he monitors the artificial sun Solaris. He asserts that being the descendant of the mist as much as the Knights, he was predisposed to villainy, and Solaris eventually corrupts Faris, who arranges for the defeat of the two JLAs and travels back in time to kill the originator of his hated responsibility, Ted Knight. He hated Ted Knight for setting their family on its path with superheroic foolery. Meeting Ted Knight, the first Starman, however, changes his mind, and Faris ultimately sacrifices himself to save the present-day Earth from Solaris' machinations. He destroyed Solaris by generating 15 million Kelvin units using the Quarvat, then activating a self-destruct in his suit. During the Justice Doom War saga in 2019, Starman 1 million was revived, and he worked with the other Starmen from different timelines to seal away Perpetua forever. Also known as Inmate 2303, this Catwoman of DC 1 million is the master computer hacker of the solar system and the best systems penetrator of the galaxy, whose talent got her imprisoned in the planet of Pluto. When the Batman clone and Toy Wonder were locked out of the Batcave, they hired Catwoman with the exchange of giving her a ship to travel out of Pluto. She is not a member of the Justice Legion, but is surely useful. This Catwoman has various cybernetic implants that aid her in her criminal activities, including eye implants and cranial data ports. Because of her cybernetic enhancements, she has superhuman agility and outstanding reflexes. She has laser weapons that can smash every bat probes in the Batcave. Of course, this Catwoman has a laser whip that can destroy the neutralizers and long, deadly nails to slash and kill any monster. She also has a powerful sonic trachea blast that can disintegrate enemies and plenty of mechanical mice to distract any sensor. In the Batcave, Catwoman overcame many defenses such as the flying bat probes, the numerous mech humanoids, the anti-riot tank, the neutralizers, the internal tasers, weep systems, gas jets and sonic disruptors, and of course, the mainframe of the Bat computer. She succeeded and kissed the Batman clone before flying out of Pluto. Robin the Toy Wonder is the Robin of the 853rd century, the robot sidekick of Batman 1 million. Batman's parents were guards on the prison planet of Pluto, but were killed in a prison riot that turned into a mass slaughter of the guards. This Robin is programmed with the neural imprint of this young Batman before the massacre. He was created as his conscience to remind him not to go too far in his cause for justice. The Toy Wonder believes this was the same reason the original Batman brought the first Robin into his life. Robin revealed to Batman clone that some of their inmates in Pluto were inspired by the criminals from the 20th century, and some are created by the nanotechs replicating old villains. Insanity is kept in Pluto by Batman and the Toy Wonder to keep the entire galaxy sane. Like most Robins, the Toy Wonder is a very skillful fighter, and as a robot, he has plenty of technological advances. This Robin also became a member of the Justice Legion T together with Superboy 1 million and Impulse 1 million. Despite being a robot, Robin has emotions. Despite seeing the need to kill monsters, he understands that the monsters just need to feed. Thus, he wished for a better way. This Robin likes to ride the flaming Omnibat. However, he was eventually killed by a modern version of Joker, a personified laughter virus with a power surge knife. Nevertheless, he was revived by Superboy and Impulse. Another member of the Justice Legion T or Young Justice 1 million is Superboy. This Superboy is the 1 millionth clone of the original Superboy. It seems that this Superboy can also access powers from his OMAC-I brothers to obtain super strength. His OMAC powers can also help him revive someone from a deep cryogenic preservation. The Eye can also transport Superboy inside the electronic consciousness of Robin. If Superman had an AI agent named Kelex, this Superboy has an AI sentient agent named Millionex. He is deeply connected to the brother Eye in his time, JK1M, who talks to him constantly and help him with various analysis. The headquarters of the Young Justice Legion T is also in Pluto, where Toy Wonder lives. And since Project Cadmus has tasked this Superboy to find the JLA Bizarro duplicate terrorist, he needed the help of Robin for this mission. Together with Impulse 1 million, the three Young Justice members will usually brag about their past counterparts. They will also often argue on who is right. This Superboy is also a member of the Justice Legion S, a group of Superboy clones with different powers. Superboy also joined the fight against Solaris during their time. The third member of Justice Legion T is Impulse 1 million. This Impulse is a mysterious energy being believed to be a personification of random thoughts and ideas had by those traveling the Speed Force. Of course, Impulse also possesses the Speed Force, but he has something more. As a personification of thoughts, this Impulse can go inside anyone's mind, ride it, live in it, and retrieve memories from it. He can scan any mind, living or not. He is very impulsive, playful, and always annoying Superboy 1 million. Then we have the Justice Legion S. The Justice Legion S consists of numerous Superboy clones, all with different powers. Members include Superboy 820 with aquatic powers possibly imbued with Atlantean genes, Superboy 3541 who can increase his size possibly imbued with genes from the atom, some metallic Superboys, an insect-looking Superboy, and Superboy 1 million who can channel any of their powers through the eye. All of them, most notably Superboy 1 million, resemble Omax as much as Superboy. This was a very intentional pun as the title of the story was 1 million and counting, referring to the million clones and forming the OMAC acronym. Their headquarters is Project Cadmus, the leading genetic research facility in the known cosmos. Of course, there is another subgroup of the Justice Legion that is based on the Titans, and that is the Justice Legion B. Members include Nightwing, a bat-like humanoid with powerful sonic screams, Aqualad, a humanoid made from water, whose fluid wear can create a strong spherical ship for the team. His water form can refract lasers into harmless light beams. Troy, a younger version of Wonder Woman 1 million, who also wields a sword and golden lasso but without AI bracelets. Arsenal, a robot with various weapons and boom transit capability, but was possessed by Solaris at one point, and Johto, who was killed in a teleporter accident. The Justice Legion L for Legionnaires, are in charge of protecting an artificially created planetary system, all that remains of the 30th century United Planets. Members include Brainiac 417, a disembodied intelligence with the powers of Brainiac 5 Quirrell Docs and Apparition. His homeworld is a combination of two worlds, Bigstillions and Colwans. The Monelves, who combine the powers of Monel and Shrinking Violet, a combination of two races, Daxamites and Imskians. Implicate Girl, who contains the abilities of all Kargites in her third eye, very loosely based on the Triad. Titan Girl possesses the psychic energy of all Titanians, based on Saturn Girl. Titan is a moon of telepaths and a huge nursing home. Cosmic Bot from Brawl, a cyborg based on magnetism based on Cosmic Boy. He uses the Wild Flame to consult the past. The Chameleon, almost invisible to the naked eye, who came from a world full of communications blackout. He can also shape change into big things like a ship. The Umbra, who hails from Talok the Seventh, the only world in the United Planets that has not evolved. And lastly, the Dreamer. The United Planets is a cluster of planets that have been fused together both as a radical experiment in interplanetary diplomacy and as a means of defending individual cultures from the encroachment of the United Galaxies. But this experiment is threatened from within. Someone within the Legion is sabotaging it, threatening to cause the planets to fall apart. Also known as the League of Executive Familiars, the Justice Legion Z for Zoomorphs, are based on the Legion of Super Pets. Members include Proti 1 million, a super horse who fought Solaris during his final battle, Crypto 9, a scion of Kryptonian canines, and the Super Dog. The DNA of the original Crypto was kept for eons by the Superman family. Octus, the 8th-dimension cephalopod, Wormhole, denizen of the Black Gulfs that can bend time and space, Phaeton and Savitar, the Sun Dogs, hydrogen-powered nuclear children of Solaris, and Gugal, the Infinity Mouse, who can multiply into millions and physically recall his entire race with his duplicates. This legion were historically created beginning with the super pets of the 20th century. As centuries went by, the members changed and the numbers grown and the respect towards them became higher. During the great rebirth of Solaris, Solaris gave telepathy to the super familiars. Martian Manhunter of the DC 1 million is the same person of the Martian Manhunter of New Earth, aka John Johns. He just lived long enough into the 853rd century and became the planet Mars itself. A millennium after the present time, Martian Manhunter lived with different races and fought with a legion of superheroes as a savior and defender of the galaxy. Soon, the planetary system with their colossal space ark robot called Antares VII tried to conquer the planets of the solar system. Of course, John joined the fight against the Planetary. However, after winning the battle, he soon understood that the Planetary were running away from something and just wished to stay at our planets. He went to the previous galaxy of the Planetary and met the Swarm, groups of monsters with nothing to do but devour planets. He fought them for the next 20,000 years, hoping that humanity will evolve at the time the Swarm arrives. Humanity did evolve and fought the Swarm on Earth. John was tasked as the chief tactician, but many heroes perished in the battle. Eventually, Earth won and the Swarm was exterminated. Unable to process the many deaths, he came back to Mars, gradually healed himself, and became a consultant to many heroes. Many years after, Darkseid came and converted Mars into becoming the new Apocalypse. John led the brutal and deadly fight against Darkseid. Many heroes were dying again and he knew that they will not win. So, he lured Darkseid into a boom tube towards the heart of the Source. The Source took Darkseid, and to turn Mars back to its original form, the Source made John merge with the core of Mars, and thus making him one with the planet to let it live. And so, he became Mars. Solaris is a sentient artificial sun created in the 20th century and a recurring nemesis of Superman Prime and his descendants. When Superman Prime retired from heroics and was succeeded by his heir Superman Secundus, Solaris tested this new Superman, in which it exerted its neutron gravity pull, attempting to wrench the very planets from their paths into its own orbit. Superman Secundus proved himself to be capable of his predecessor and defeated Solaris. In the 25th century, Solaris went mad and launched a scorched Earth rampage, bent on reducing Earth to smolders, and was stopped by 25th century Superman and that era's Justice League and drove into Earth's seas. In the early 29th century, Solaris returned from an exile in deep space at the forefront of a marauding army of sentient comets. It took the Justice League and the Legion of Superheroes to defeat Solaris and its army. Despite the consistent defeat, Solaris continued to evolve and the Superman dynasty evolved with it. In the 364th century, Solaris' plot backfired that invented a new phase of heroes with the quantum powers of the uncertainty principle. By the 505th century, the Solaris-Superman conflict reached a terrible climax as the artificial sun unleashed a cancer plague he created by bombarding the solar system with waves of deadly radiation. The Superman of the 505th century, with aid from the Fourth Singularity and Gravity Witch, took the battle to Solaris. The Singularity and the Witch collapsed whole spatial dimensions to create countless hordes of duplicate Supermen to distract Solaris while providing the 505th century Superman to make a daring invasion inside of the artificial sun itself, and was successful in reprogramming Solaris into a benevolent being at the cost of his life. Because of this, Solaris became a willing tool in the hands of those who protect the solar system and remained incapable of independence for millennia. Over time, Solaris was eventually accepted as a hero and remained in good standing with the contemporary Justice League. When the universe was veering towards universal paranoia and instability, Solaris formed the Pancosmic Justice Jihad, whose aggressive agenda included preemptive strikes against worlds considered potential threats to the solar system. Even the Superman of that era joined the jihad. The fearful populace venerated the Pancosmic Justice Jihad for its imperialistic actions as Solaris' power grew. This dark millennia continued until the return of Superman Prime himself that caused a great revival, which turned public opinion against Solaris' reactionary agenda. The Pan-Cosmic Justice Jihad was disbanded, and Solaris went on to form the Academy of Prescient Justice, an organization of psychics, prognosticators, and automatons that claimed to be able to forecast and prevent future crimes by manipulating current events. By the 853rd century, Solaris became inconsequential and returned to its status as a passive secondary power source to the solar system while being monitored by its caretaker, Starman. Because of Solaris, the waters of Neptune warmed and Pluto's ice thawed, giving life to distant planets. However, Solaris eventually reverted back to its malevolent persona and plotted for the destruction of Superman Prime. Solaris allied with the immortal Vandal Savage and proceeded its plan by infecting the Justice Legion's Hourman with a devastating virus that attacks both humans and computers, causing the former to be driven with anger and paranoia. When the Justice Legion traveled back in time to begin a ceremony honoring the original Justice League of America, present-day Earth was infected with Solaris' virus, one of which affected the guidance system of a red rocket suit that detonated over Montevideo, Uruguay, and killing millions. But the real purpose of the virus was to serve as a predestination paradox that allowed the creation of Solaris from the very beginning. When Vandal Savage found a sample of kryptonite on Mars, where it was left by the 853rd century Starman in the 20th century, and gave it to Solaris, the artificial sun intended on using the kryptonite to finally kill Superman Prime. In his final attack in 85-271, he successfully killed many superheroes, including many Hawkmen and younger members of the Justice Legion. Then Solaris fired the kryptonite at Superman Prime just before he emerged from his isolation in the solar system's sun. But unbeknownst to Solaris, the kryptonite was actually a disguised Green Lantern ring. It was the result of a secret conspiracy originated in the 20th century that created a foolproof plan for stopping Solaris. After Solaris was severely weakened by the Justice League's Green Lantern Kyle Rayner, a hero who uses a power that Solaris has never encountered before, Superman Prime, armed with the Green Lantern ring, ultimately destroyed Solaris by having the sun to cave in on itself and become a less malicious form of matter. In the DC Rebirth era, during the Justice Doom War storyline, Brainiac's body was recovered by Lex Luthor, who sets Professor Ivo on reconstructing it with the intention of the alien joining the Legion of Doom. He initially tries to betray the Legion soon after awakening, but Luthor was able to convince him that they are better off working together after a linking of their minds. The Legion's plan revolves around reviving and empowering a cosmic being named Perpetua. Brainiac aids them in this goal and as a result is able to go around the multiverse and bottle hypertime, essentially storing entirely different timelines. Confronting the Justice Legion in the 853rd century and mind-controlling them, Brainiac used the knowledge and technology of these hundreds of advanced timelines to upgrade himself into Brainiac 1 million, a colossal new form possessing unparalleled, almost infinite power. He planned to destroy the timelines he had abducted after completing his battle, to keep his knowledge exclusive, boasting that when this iteration of the multiverse dies, he alone will have its knowledge. Multiple alternate Justice Leagues from across the universe's timelines prove unable to defeat him even working together. However, when Perpetua was finally revived at full power, even his abilities prove nothing compared to her nigh omnipotence, and she decides to use it to turn him into her new control station or a highly advanced throne, effectively subverting him into a tool. Other notable characters in the DC 1 million are Owak, One-Woman Adversary Chamber, a villain of the future, real name Lori Lombard Thurol. Her hatred of Superman stems from believing she was destined to be his true love until Hartiak was transferred to Metropolis University. Laughing Virus, another villain of Batman in the future. The Laughing Virus is believed to be the ghost of the original Batman's greatest foe, murdered in the 21st century. His main ability is psychic possession of man or machine. Tempest, Chief Aide to Aquaman 1 million. Adam Stranger, Guardian Thought of the Ran worlds, the living consensus and manifestation of all Ranians' shared will. Tezcatlipoca, Shadow God of the Aztecs. Luthorians, clones of Luthors who conquered Metropolis and killed many heroes when the heroes lost their powers during the Convergence stories. Heartyak, 12th level compassion and disappointment entity who is in love with Superman 1,000,000. Epoch, the Lord of Time, controller of the Chrono Cube using the anti-hourglass. Metaclay, a creature like Clayface who is merged to the ground of Pluto itself. Black Manta, who planned to release the laughing virus into Neptune through Pluto. Platinum, who has outlived her mental teammates. Mahotoj of the Hawkman, whose main weapon is a photon cannon. The Hawkmen also use neutralizing nets that can drain any powerful being, including Superman. Gerada Olsen, mayor of Metropolis. Peter Platinum, a Justice Legion wannabe who has similar egotistic qualities with Booster Gold. Shazam, Captain Marvel, is also still alive in this century, and it shows the young man named Tanist from the planet Mercury to become part of the Marvel family. Azrael, the Angel, is also still alive with a magnificent golden armor and a transparent sword. The Resurrection Man, also alive, a hero who comes back to life with new superpowers every time he is killed. The Department of Extra Normal Operations that includes Chase, Snare, Skull, and Lead. The Creeper, who came from the trickster planet called IAI. The Feral Tribe of the Green Arrow of Earth. Lobo, who became really hefty. And lastly, Vandal Savage, who has an Omicron knife suit in this era. Beyond spectacle, DC 1,000,000 is a meditation on legacy, hope, and the endurance of heroism. Superman's return from his solar exile and Batman's enduring lineage highlight Morrison's belief in the timeless relevance of these icons. The arc balances cosmic stakes with character-driven moments, ensuring that readers feel both awe and emotional resonance. Its innovative structure and thematic depth make it not just a crossover but a celebration of DC's mythos and its infinite storytelling potential. What do you think of the DC 1,000,000 stories? Are they very creative and imaginative of the future, or is it just another not-so-epic comic saga from the 90s? What do you think of the Justice Legion? Do you think they are unnecessarily too powerful, or do you wish we could have seen them more in action? Personally, I think they can make a great animated series. The story of Solaris is my favorite, and it should be included in the future Superman movies. Let us know what you think and share this video. Hold up. Of course, we cannot finish this video without talking about the Golden Superman Prime. Superman Prime of the 853rd century survived by becoming the living extension of the sun. He left Earth somewhere in the late 21st century when everyone he cared about died. He traversed the entire DCU, going beyond time and space, and has been said to have reached as far as heavens and hell themselves. The vast Kryptonian powers that served to make him Superman also made Kal-El essentially immortal. He would watch as he outlived his parents, then his friends, and then even his wife Lois. Still serving as the world's foremost champion, he began to break as the sadness of the losses began to mount. Legend then tells how close to the end of the 21st century Superman Prime, the responsibilities of being Superman to his heir, Superman Secundus, and created the Superman dynasty, then one day he left Earth. His travels lasted from the 21st century and ended somewhere at the turn of the 700th century. During his travels, he acquired vast abilities and skills from across the universe. When he returned, he forged a covenant with his descendants. He would bestow upon them a small fraction of his power as long as they served for truth and justice. After the covenant, he left and returned into his fortress of solitude in the center of the Super Sun. The time he spent in the sun magnified his already great power to presumably infinite levels. His strength and other countless abilities he gained also rose to unknown levels from the time he spent in the sun. In the aftermath of Solaris' destruction, a lot was revealed about Superman Prime's hibernation in the Super Sun. During this period, he had been waiting for Solaris' attempt on his life because he had foreknowledge of the events thanks to his time-traveling younger self. He knew about the DNA sample in Solaris' core, and with the help of Lizism Litpictis, the Superman of the Fifth Dimension, and Hourman, used it to his advantage, and in the process, resurrected his beloved Lois Lane. After what seemed to him like an eternity, he had retreated into the sun to await her return, and now a silver Lois Lane and a golden Superman Prime were reunited. In all the time since her death, life had held little meaning or warmth for him. But now, as Krypton was recreated, Superman Prime felt he was complete once more. He also became the leader of the time-traveling, dimension-hopping Superman Squad and gave an indestructible rose from New Krypton to All-Star Superman during the death of Jonathan Kent. However, during the DC Rebirth era, Luthor found a way to trap Golden Superman Prime inside him that made him the powerful, futuristic Firestorm. He was then known Lord Preceptor of the Monolith and presides over the Great Compromise. A super collider brought him Martin Stein's Firestorm Matrix. Then Luthor went to the sun with his Marvelium ship and captured Superman hiding within. He survived centuries by binding Superman Prime to himself with the Firestorm Matrix. Centuries without sunlight made Superman Prime unable to escape Luthor. Upon separation from Luthor, Superman Prime was healed by Deep Dweller and was returned to his normal self. In the DCKO event, Superman Prime was made to fight Monarch, a god who could control time and space. They were set to fight in Smallville, but Superman brought the fight near the sun to get more strength, then deeply froze their surroundings as taught to him by the Flash. The atoms and quantum fields of Monarch and Superman Prime froze, but Superman has just enough strength to outlast Monarch. Thus, Monarch lost.